All right, let's go tap some trees. Okay, I try to tap a tree on the south side so it catches the morning sun, so the tree warms up and sap runs. Tapping into the seals. There she goes. And that's the sound of spring in the Keweenaw. Thump, thump, thump. I have 110 trees tapped in this bush. And out of 110 trees, I can collect about 35 gallons of sap on a day that it's running. When it gets 20-degree range at night and the high 30s or low 40s during the day. Look at this big old tree here. When a tree gets to be around 18, 20, 24 inches in diameter, then you can put 2 taps. And look at there, I got 6, maybe 7 gallons off of that one. Now the key is to get back up the hill without spilling it. I started making syrup 48 years ago. Actually, started with when my kids were small, and we're still pretty primitive. We don't have too much fancy equipment. It would take all day to evaporate and turn 60 gallons of sap into a little over a gallon of syrup. I traded a neighbor for a real Vermont evaporator, and it evaporates about 20 some gallons an hour instead of 25 gallons all day. There's a rule in the Upper Peninsula, okay, that you never build a outbuilding, a wood shed or a tool shed or whatever. You never buy material for that. You gotta build it with what you got laying around.
Yeah.
And as you can see,
where'd you get the window?
I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I got that at a yard sale. I had a couple of my engineer friends from Michigan Tech look at me and say, "Charlie, geez, couldn't you know, put a little more design?" I said, "I did put design in it." I designed it for what I had laying around. So the idea then is to set the input over here that's coming out of the gravity out of the big tank, set the input to equal what is being evaporated out. So you have a continuous process. Fresh sap coming in, water being driven off, the syrup starts turning into syrup. So look at the difference in color. From the first roll over here, okay, clear water. That's the fresh sap that's just starting to boil, fresh from the tree. Coming over here to the last partition, and she's starting to get color. 80% syrup, only 20% water, so then we'll have to go in to the shack And I'll show you later how I finish it there. Bring it right to syrup. So it's nice and thick on your pancakes. Back before I built my shack, I used to store all of my buckets. I still store them in there, but I keep them in the shack. Store all my buckets in these trash cans in the summertime. Only problem is they all smell like maple syrup. So the bears come around. You can see all my patches. These are bear marks where the bear went around like a can opener trying to get the lid off. He couldn't figure out these clamps. And then when he couldn't get the top off, he went around the bottom and tried to punch holes in it. So I just put a little silicone on the holes. They still work. And I have a middle school class, science class from Houghton, come every year. Their teacher loves to bring them out here. The middle school kids, they just come and help me gather. And the high school kids came, they were on a science project.
Oh, yeah.
I had them doing tree identification. So I take the boiling syrup, fill this cup, and I take the hydrometer, put her in there, and where she floats, so it's a little past the brick scale. So that means it's good syrup. There's the finished product. We call that Keweenaw Gold.